Alrighty, what's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody's having a lovely weekend. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, we got an exciting week ahead of us. All right, we got inflation data out of the way, CPI, PPI. All right, CPI was relatively tame. PPI came in as a big beat. All right, market's going higher. That's the theme. Okay. Dips are going to be bought. I'm just starting this video off with the MAGS ETF over here. This is going to be the Magnificent 7 stocks as a whole, how they're moving. And, you know, I've been pounding the table on this. This is just a break and retest. We're consolidating in a bullish manner above previous all-time highs, just like what you had over here when you hit it with the break and retest over here. You consolidate for a few weeks. It's the exact same thing, except we put in an extra week of consolidation here. And now we're breaking out, and now we're in this part of the move right here. Okay. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly like that, but I will tell you the market's not bearish. We are going to be going higher. And yeah, I think we could start the week off with a pullback. If we get it, I think it's going to get bought. All right. But I just thought I'd point out how the MAGS ETF is set up into next week. We are, you know, we're going to be pushing higher, guys. That's how this is going to go. And there's one stock that's going to be leading the way. We'll talk about it in this video. We're going to start off with the indices. We'll go over the MAG 7 stocks, and I have some stocks that are going to be moving next week for you to pay attention to at the end of the video. All right, so we're going to kick it off here with SPY, guys. Closed out with a bullish wide-body green bar there, okay? And then on the daily time frame, we ended up putting in a you know, similar candlestick to a spinning top over here, or a, you know, shooting star doji candlestick. It's signaling indecision. I just want to point out that if you do look back, most of the times, price is not top with this. If it pulls back, it's just going to revert to the mean, and then you go up to new high, you know, something like over here. And that's just what you're going to see most of the time when we print these types of candlesticks along an uptrend there. I just thought I'd point that out. All right. I don't think a top is in right now, and I think we can definitely pull back. I would, you know, say that would be healthy for the market over here. Revert back to the mean, test the 90 EMA here before pushing higher. But yeah, you know, with what I just showed you on the MAGS ETF there, SPY, and then you come over to QQQ, you know, you barely broke out over here. If you pull back into it, you're going to probably find buyers around 580, 581. All right. If you pull back into this area, and then you probably just chug along. Daily RSI is not overbought. Weekly RSIs are not overbought. We're probably going higher. That's how things are looking. So just thought I'd start the video off with that. And yeah, let's get into the levels we're watching over here in SPY and QQQ. On the downside for SPY, we have 656.90, 654.55, 652.21, and then 649.48. If we come down, you know, if we start the week with a pullback here, I think we find buyers around 650 to 652, we're going to say, okay? And then on the upside, you have 659.11, Friday's high. Above there, 660, 662, 665, 670. All right, QQQ on the upside, 587.86, Friday's high. Above there, 590, 592, 595, 600. On the downside, we have 584.88, 583.32, 581.12, and 578. If we do start that week off with a pullback, okay, we're looking around here 578 to 581 for buyers to defend there. We do not think you're going to take out last week's low. If you do, that would be pretty sloppy, and hey, it's just telling us we're back in this range, and we shouldn't be looking for immediate upside. But at the same time, we do know these dips are very likely going to be bought. So until proven otherwise, that's how we should be you know, expecting things to go. That should be the bias. All right, uptrend monthly, weekly, daily, probably going higher. All right, there you go. Again, so the major components over here of the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, and they're breaking out. You have this consolidation, you have this range of consolidation that went on for a whole month here, and now we're breaking up from it. And that consolidation took place over previous all-time highs, guys. It's not a bearish occurrence. That is exactly what you had over here, except you only had 3 weeks here, and we put in an extra one over here, and you have 4. All right, and now we're going higher. There's that, okay? Come over to DIA. I'm just going to remind everyone, hey, fresh breakout over here. Same thing as the MAGS ETF there. All right, consolidation for a few weeks above previous all-time highs is likely going to lead to continuation. DIA, there you go. IWM, you're very close to all-time highs at this point. All right, you can pull back, but it's probably just going to be bought, you know, around 230 if it actually happens over here on the weekly time frame. And then on the daily, you're going to be watching that 21 EMA. If that gets tested, that's where we're going to be expecting buyers to step in. All right, but I'm not going to go over the levels here. I don't personally trade IWM. If it really presents itself, then I will. But I do focus elsewhere, and I think the indices are very slow moving right now. And if you've just been focused on the individual tickers that we've been talking about for the last 1 to 2 weeks, you have had a shot at, you know, a lot of big movers there, whereas the indices over here have not been moving. So that's just my opinion there. But, you know, I'm just pointing out everything as a whole is suggesting, yeah, all right, pullbacks will be bought, or, you know, at least likely going to be bought until proven otherwise, and we're going higher. There's that. VIX, guys, all right, you're coming down towards that low. I'm still surprised you're not at the low yet. But, you know, there's nothing concerning over here yet. You're in this, you know, parallel descending channel here. You're either going to, you know, continue trading in it. Okay, if we come down to the low end of it, 1350 to, yeah, you know, 13 to 13.5. If we come down into that, expect it to be bought. Okay, if you start breaking out, you start getting above 20 bucks. Hey, you're breaking out of this thing, and yeah, we're gonna look for a higher VIX spike there, and we start something larger. But hey, until these things happen, you don't really have any reason to worry about it. I will just remind everyone that there is an absolute crap ton of noise online and in the news and in these markets. There is so much noise, it's ridiculous. And I just want to remind everybody that everybody calling for this major correction, or, you know, anybody who got bearish on any one of these sells and just decide to do so until being proven, like before being proven otherwise, you're dead wrong. Dead wrong. All right, you could have literally just waited to take out a daily low. You haven't been doing it. You haven't taken out one. You haven't. Okay, everyone wants to get super bearish over here. What happened? You didn't even come close. You're still above moving averages over here on the daily time frame. Like, what are people going on and on about? So I'm just going to remind everyone, silence the noise, because most people on here are stupid and they get it wrong. All right, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm telling you, everybody thinks they know better. And in reality, there's like 2% of people online that actually know what's going to happen. Like, you know, they call it accurately. I like to think I'm in there. Okay. But in reality, you know, I'll put my people where the probabilities lie, and the probabilities lie on the upside. Anybody going against that is stupid. That's that. Okay. You want to try and short this thing? Be my guest. Okay. But you're not getting anything until you start actually breaking down. You're going to be short and pullbacks, and the surprise are going to continue being to the upside. I'm pointing out at the very beginning of this video here that we can very well get this pullback reversion to the mean. And I promise, all right, the same stupid people I'm talking about that are going to come on these videos, okay, and post on Twitter and in the news, and all of these dummies who think they know what they're talking about, they're going to get proven wrong again. Why? Because this looks like this. You pull back, it's just coming back to where you just broke out from. What are people going on and on about? Okay? Like, just go with the trend. You're going to have a good time. I promise. Silence the noise, because I promise 98% of people have no fucking clue what they're talking about. Pardon my French, okay? I have a track record here on YouTube. I've been making these videos for about the last 3 years here. Go back and check the track record. Go back and see if the stocks we talked about, see if they got these respective moves, okay? I point out a lot of, you know, good movers over the last few weeks, and all you had to do is watch this absolute free content here. You can even put me on double speed, and you had what you needed to, you needed to know there, okay? And I'm being, you know, very vocal about it. The market on all of these pullbacks, I started saying it right here. I'm looking for a sideways market. No one wants to believe me. We got a sideways market, okay? We went absolutely nowhere, and it went exactly like this over here. And now we're continuing up to new highs, which is unlike what we got over here. So I'm going to say we're probably not going through this. Expect this thing to keep marching higher. Going on to the Mag 7 stocks, guys. Tesla started exploding. All right, started freaking exploding. Okay, you could have bought in this breakout somewhere right over here around 360 there. Could have bought 1017 calls to ride this bad boy up to 400 bucks, and you're already up 100%. I'm going to tell you in the short term, we're looking for 414.50 to 430. That's what's coming in the short term, likely before any crazy pullback. I'm talking before something like that. I'm talking before something like that. I'm talking before something like that. We're thinking this thing is going to keep going. Okay, I already took it off the chart, but I'm just going to pull it up over here because I have it there. All right, right over here. Hopefully you guys can see that. Okay, can you guys see that? I hope you can. These are the last breakouts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we're on the 9th. Okay, these are the last 8 breakouts over the last 4 to 5 years within this price range. We now have the sexiest and most explosive setup out of all of them, and we've only gone 8% from the breakout level. We've only gone about 29 points there, okay? Even if you take it down from over here, 355, I know you guys can't see that. I'm trying to show it. Maybe we could do that. Does that work? Yes, everybody could see that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. I know you can't see it over here. But even if you are going to take from this level down here, all right, the lowest, we're only 40 points away. Okay. 11%. The smallest move that we've had over this, 4 to 5 year period in this range, the smallest move we've gotten was, if I remember correctly, it was an 18% move, and it was right here. All right. And the lowest dollar move was 47 points, and it was right there. That was also the same 18% move. I'm telling you right now, we have the most explosive setup we've had throughout this whole range, and this thing's probably going to break it out 2 new all-time highs over the next 1 to 2 months, or however long it takes. Okay, this is where this setup is going to bring it to. This is a whole shit ton of consolidation, pardon my French. All right, but this is 2.5 to 3 months of consolidation here after we've been correcting here for all right, 2/3 of a year. The thing is now starting to push up. It's going to be explosive. Okay, but the criteria I laid out over there, the whole 47-point minimum thing, and 18%, all right, on your breakout moves, guess what? That's taking it from the breakout level. This over here is not what we're talking. This is clear as day the big breakout level. And even if we take it from here, okay, if we're going that minimum 18%, you're coming up here 420. So that's why I'm saying 414.50 to 430 in the short term before any pullback. I think it's going to happen this week. If that's your target, you could start taking things off there. Okay, you don't have to. No financial advice. You can do whatever the heck you want to, but this thing is starting to move, and I don't know if it's going to pull back after there. I'm just telling you, that's guaranteed where I'm going to start taking it off. And if we do end up seeing those, this consolidation at some point develop before highs, it's probably going to last for 2-3 weeks, and then it gets ready for that move to highs, and it could take place anywhere from like 440 up to like 480. I don't know. I really don't know, but I will tell you this thing's going. We are looking for 414.50 to 430 this week. 420 is right there, that sweet spot in the middle there, and that's what I'm thinking. Okay, and if we're going to go that 47 points, or again percent wise 18% from the actual breakout level, not what I was just pointing out, we're coming way up here. Okay, 18% is 434, 435. All right, it's just if you take it down here, I'm just being conservative here, that's what you get. Okay, you're still coming up there to 420 plus this week. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I am saying it's very likely going to happen. And all of these moves I just went over, all of these, okay, they all took 2 weeks or less from the breakout spot. All right, these moves, they went that 18% within 2 weeks or less, guys. What does that tell us? That tells us that this is now second week right here, okay? Between this Friday and next like Tuesday or Wednesday, that's what we're looking for. Specifically, I'm thinking this thing goes a lot crazier than how it's gone in the past, because again, it's the most explosive setup we've had. All right, it's comparable to this bad boy over here, and this guy, it went vertical within 2 weeks. Okay, it went 30%, 87 points right there. Can we see some crazy shit happen like that? Maybe. Okay, maybe. And but at that point, if you have the crazy move like that, you're gonna break this all-time high, and you're gonna do just like what you did over here, where you go a little bit past that. Okay, so I'm telling you, absolute insane move is here. It's happening, and that's why that MAGS ETF is gonna keep going up. This is gonna go up this week. There you go. There's Tesla. If you have this massive gap up to start off the week, then it probably does, put in an, intra-week reversal or something like that. And maybe we start that, consolidation process. But I'm telling you, all right, as long as we're not here, all right, 420 to 430, you got more upside. So pullbacks, they're going to be buying opportunities here. We're not looking for you to take out previous day's low, but with the candle we just got, you have a lot of freaking room. You got a lot of room for that not to be the case. Okay. But upside, Tesla, also top watch for this week. There you go. I got 3 others that are top watch for this week that are very likely going to begin these clean moves. I'll talk about how we're going to trade them after we go over these Mag 7 stocks. Microsoft, guys, pullback has been dancing around the weekly 9 EMA for the past 4 weeks, and now you're starting to put in a reversal bar here. All right, you're looking like you want to perk up out of this range that you got going on here. Okay, that 3 to 4 week range. Above 511.97, we could pop straight up to 518.29. Above there, guys, I think you're going straight to 530 plus. 531.5 is that 0.618 fib from that whole move down. Okay, so that's what I'm paying attention to over on Microsoft. Microsoft going micro hard. Maybe, if we're lucky, we're going to see him shine this week. We'll see about it. NVIDIA over here, I'm going to say, guys, I'm honestly not sure. You know, most of these times, actually pretty much every single time you print, you know, this green candlestick, you do go, all right, on the weekly time frame, you do go a little higher there the next week at least, before putting a reversal bar. And it doesn't always have to lead to a reversal bar. I'm not really sure what we're going to be doing here. But I'm telling you, we might go up to all-time highs before actually, you know, pulling back, you know, and getting like a more major pullback is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking at some point we will. But hey, all right, I could have been wrong. But at the end of the day, that is what's happened over the last few years here. Every time the daily RSI has reached 37 over the past, since this time right here, okay? This whole time period. All right, that's over 2 years there. I think it was 2.5 years. Every time the daily RSI has came back and hit 37, we have seen, okay, we have quite literally seen a minimum of 13% correction. All right, some of them, actually all of them, were more than 13%. This one was only 11% from the highs. All right, so I was thinking we're going to, you know, at least come down a little bit more closer to the weekly 21 EMA right over there around 160. We did not, so I'm just saying we might be popping back up to the highs. And with how Mag 7, you know, ETF there is looking and how, you know, NASDAQ is set up, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing does just break above 180.28 and pushes 184.47, and all of a sudden we're going to 190 plus. So that's the video. On the downside, you're watching 174.25. That's right around the daily 9, daily 21 EMA. If you lose that, you have 170.89. If you can't hold there, you risk literally just coming, and you probably will come down to 164.07 and test 160, which is the weekly 21 EMA. All right, and that's the video over here, guys. Amazon, it didn't move. Don't expect it to just, you know, magically skyrocket this week. I think we're going to stay in this range this week. If we come down to the weekly 21 EMA, expect the low to be right around there. All right, that would be coming down to the low end of the range that we've been trading in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 week range. All right, I think it's going to be holding. I think it's a no-brainer that this thing is going to make it up to all-time highs, and I think we're just going through one of these over here before that big move up starts. But I will point out, okay, even if this has a reversal bar this week, it's probably not going to take out this high and hit to all-time highs. It's probably going to be something like that or something like this, where that next week, okay, not this week, but the next week, if we get a green reversal bar this week, then the next week we probably do head up to all-time highs and hit it with the 1-2. All right, so that is Amazon as far as levels go. All right, you're bouncing in the golden pocket underneath 226.22. That's where you're finding buyers there. The low of the day was 226.29. All right, 226.22, that's your support underneath there. All right, you have 221.83 and then 219.05. But again, yeah, it's a no-brainer. This thing is going to make it up to the highs. I know it's doing this, but expect new all-time highs by end of month. That's that. Okay, that's Amazon. Google, guys, you didn't end up pulling back this week. Do not go against this thing. You have no reason to. And I you know, think this might actually be trading how Microsoft was over here, where you just didn't want to pull back the 9 EMA for a while, and then you did, and you just kept grinding higher. So I'm not saying that's going to be the case over here, but clear as day, nobody should be going against this thing, and that's that. Above 242.57, you have 245 and then 250. Under 236.58, all right, you're going to have this bad boy right over there, 233.38, and then 225.12. That's GOOG, all right, which is just Google. Apple, all right, daily doesn't look all that bad. Weekly is a bit iffy. Normally when we print a candle like that, all right, we do a whole lot of nothing next week, and at least we'll stay in consolidation. We normally do not push back above it, all right, consolidation. Most of the time that is going to be the case. I don't like what's going on over here. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, we're just sitting in a range here. I'm going to be honest, it's not too clear where the next move is. If you could break above 241.32, then hey, all right, 250 plus income and probably 260, 10 all-time highs, okay? Daily doesn't look all that bad, but weekly makes me think we're probably going to stay consolidating, and we're going to be doing a whole lot of this, all right, like I was thinking was going to be the case once we started to break it down over here. This just ain't good looking, okay? We're just in a range. It's not telling you much. All right, so that's Apple. Meta, I'm still reminding everyone, hey, All right, flat month. That's still what I'm thinking. It's going to be a flat month. But hey, it doesn't look all that bad here on the daily time frame. It looks, honestly pretty constructive over here. Resistance 758.41. Above there, 766.51. Above there, 775, 784.75, 796.25. Support is 740.91 and 721.73. I personally think this will continue trading flat for the month if we get a move in October, like I've been saying. So yeah, that's it. That's it, guys. All right. So those are the mags right there, and this is the ETF that has all of them included in it. And yeah, it's clear as day breaking out. You want to see the leader? It's Tesla right over here. I feel like Microsoft is going to join the race this week. Okay, but Tesla, I'm thinking clear as day, it's going to have another up week. And if it gaps up a lot, okay, then there is a chance that you put in something like this, because most of these weeks you don't really you don't gap up all that much. Okay, you see that there was a 2% gap up. It's not all that crazy. Okay, over here was a gap down, and there was that. Over here you had a decent sized gap up, 7 to 8%. Like if we see something like that, that's different than what we even got over here, and I think it probably will be faded for the time being, and maybe we're entering that next consolidation period. But at the same time, all right, we barely have moved yet, so I'm thinking we will get some decent upside this week. And for people on the sidelines, hopefully don't gap up like that, and you could catch another 30, 50 point week. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. All right, so Tesla, guys, that is top watch for next week. So just realize we are going to be targeting 414.50 to 430 there. Okay, I've already looked at it. Let's just say price doesn't gap up all that much. Regardless, I'll just tell you how the premiums move. All right, 926 calls there. Okay, you could play the 420C. They're going to go 70 to 80% on that move. Okay, I think it's a 20-point move. You get a 75 to 80% gain on those. That's how you could play them. I'm personally in 1017 calls. If we see this is when you load up for that next move up. I don't think we're going to get it. I think we're most likely going to see what we get all of these times, where you get these little pullbacks, you don't take out the previous day's low, and you keep going higher the next day. So if you see these daily pullbacks there, okay, just expect, first of all, maybe by end of day they get bought up, and by the next day they will be bought up. That's how that goes. Okay, something like that. You see them, you can take advantage of them. But as of right now, the thing is in vertical mode, and you might just keep going like that, and it is what it is. All right, second top watch, Rocket Lab. I'm just saying, proceed with caution right here, because I think we're going to get this immediate breakout this week. I think we're going to immediately get a move like that. That's what it looks in. Even if it's going to be a fake out, you still get a decent 10% move there. But what I am pointing to is after that, maybe we consolidate a bit here. Okay, do some crap like that for a few weeks, and then bang, you have a big week around the corner. Either way, this is going to be a top watch here. We had the short report that took prices down for a little bit over here, and you made your way right back up here, and now we're right back banging on 53.44's door, and this is looking explosive, guys. This really looks like this thing is going to do some crazy shit this month. And yeah, I think 60 plus is in the cards in the short term. All right, but that's also just that 12% move that I was saying I think we're going to get. That brings you right to $60. That's the short-term target. There you go. All right, number 3, Grab. All right, Grab just got a big breakout this week, guys. It's been consolidation for a very long time. All right, and if you take a look back, you can see that this consolidation was a base above an even larger base that went for like 2 to 3 years there. You broke out, and you almost had a whole year-long base sitting right here. Okay, it's about 300 days. That's pretty crazy. I just want to point out how the last big base breakout went. You had an immediate move up, okay, of 20%, and then you pulled back, and then you proceeded to have an absolute massive ripper on your hands. Okay, I'm not saying it's going to go like that, but we have now had this decent push up. Maybe we go a little bit higher. If you see that pullback, that's what you want to be taking advantage of. Regardless, over the coming weeks, guys, I'm looking for a lot higher prices over here. This is a big old base that just took the breakout is taking place here, and if we just take the bottom of it and we come to the top of it, that's 40%. That's $1.73. Okay, that's yeah, we're talking 764. All right, 750. We'll make 750 the target over here for Grab over the coming weeks. There you go. Okay, next one, Oklo, guys. I'm looking for that dip. All right, I'm looking for that dip. This thing looks explosive over here, but just notice this is how that went last time. Okay, and I see the 4-hour RSI is already heavily overbought. So I'm thinking we start the week off with a dip. If we see something like this is your, like, you can hop on that, okay? That is exactly what you want to see. Okay, it's healthy. It's not a reason to get scared by it. It is completely healthy. It's exactly what we want here, is to start the week off with a dip. Because if you don't, you might have a big breakout move. And it might go without you. You don't want that to be the case. But, you know, I'm just going to point out, sometimes, all right, it doesn't matter if the 4-hour RSI is overbought. Ah, look at that. Okay, actually, this guy was all the way down here when that move started. Okay, so, you know, hey, yeah, we're in the right spot. Okay, look for that pullback. I don't feel comfortable telling people to just chase a breakout. Okay, you can if you want, but just realize, okay, no financial advice will be found here on this channel, and how I'm trading it is different than how maybe you would be trading. Okay, but I do think explosive move on the horizon here, probably going to start up this week. If you get something like that, it's a clear as day buying opportunity for that breakout. It's coming. It's a happening. This thing, just like I pointed out over there on the Rocket Lab monthly chart, this thing looks explosive. Okay, they look very similar over here. We just broke out, and they look explosive. Oklo. The fifth one, all right, no brainer. It's going to be VNet. All right, this one just started getting the breakout. You have 1, 2, 3. These last 3 similar breakouts like we have going on right here. Okay, and I'd argue this is a setup that looks very similar to what you got over here where you started pushing up again. Okay, and then you consolidate above the weekly 21 EMA for the next few weeks or months. Okay, this is 2 months of consolidation. This was a bit more. This is almost 3. Okay, either way. All right, all 3 of these occurrences, they've went, you know, over 20%. 23% was that smallest move here, it looks like, over the next 2 weeks from the breakout level, okay? So you broke out, 1, 2. You broke out, let's just say you broke out here, 1, 2. Yeah, okay? Either way, breakout, 1, 2. Okay, so we're going to be looking for this move. If it pulls back, okay, if you push up a little bit and then pull back, okay, it's going to create your break and retest buying opportunity there. There's going to be that. Or you could just buy it right now. It is up to you. Again, no financial advice will be found on this channel, but I will gladly share you all of these opportunities as I see them coming in, or, you know, we should say setups. I don't want to call them opportunities. There's clearly opportunities in the market. That's what the market is, okay? But these are the setups that are likely going to be moving, and is your opportunity to make some coin. All right, but over the next 2 weeks, okay, you use the 1017 expiration, you look for this move to $12, okay? That would be what you're looking for. That is right up here, okay? Yeah, 1150. Target 1150. There you go. There's VNet. That'll give the 1017 calls. That brings it 200, 300%. I'm not sure exactly which, but I think it's over 200% right there if you catch that 20% move. SOFI, getting ready for an all-time high breakout. Okay, above 2661. I think this thing's about to explode. Have a little bit of a day there. Okay, where it goes straight to all-time highs. That is what I'm thinking over here on SOFI. It looks explosive here in the short term. You have this little rounded base action going on here. It looks like it's going to break up. The weekly chart looks good. Daily chart looks good. I think you're going to finally test all-time highs. And I don't know if you stopped there just yet, but hey, I'm telling you, the thing is setting up for this move. Okay. So yeah, that's really it. Above 2661, you're targeting 2826. That's that. If you happen to break down on a 2495, then guess what? The breakout's not going to happen just yet because you're back underneath the 21 EMA, and that's been holding the whole time. And that means you're probably going through a sideways period where you can correct. All right. Next one, which I mentioned on this day right here. Don't you forget about it. PLTR. All right, you had plenty of opportunity over the next 2 sessions after we pointed out right here for the big base breakout here for your, buy-in opportunity there. Guess what? The thing started breaking up. We already did hit 171.5. That was the first target there. That was your 0.618 fib. We said if you get over 163.20, I think you're going straight to 171.5. Why? That's your golden pocket. Okay. Now you printed a monster weekly candlestick. We are very likely going to be heading back up to highs. I can't tell you how quick it happens, but it's probably going to happen 1 to 2 weeks. Okay. I'm looking for new all-time highs here on this name. Regardless. Okay. Take your profit how you see it. There you go. Okay. Big breakout there. You could have bought the break and retest. If it pulls back, it's a buying opportunity for that move I speak of. You get above 179.5, that's your 0.786. Get above there, you know you're probably about to head up to 190 plus, and you're probably going to continue a little bit past that. Okay, that's PLTR. HIMS, I gave it to you guys again. I gave it to you guys on these 2 days, right? I think it was on this day I gave it to you. Okay, Wednesday going into Thursday. And guess what? The thing started going. It started going a little crazy. I also mentioned Thursday's been. But yeah, you did end up breaking up in this range. Just pointing out that it was looking pretty juicy over here. It was looking like you wanted to do it. All right, you did get over 51.20. You actually hit it with the break and retest, and bang, you went straight to 53.24 and then straight to 56.10. That was your second target there. Okay, now I'm going to tell you, I think this thing is heating up, and I think we're going to hit it with another green weekly candlestick here. And I think at a minimum to start off the week, we're pushing 59.05. If you get a pullback to start off the week, expect it to be bought. HIMS looks like it's finally going to target these highs up here. And if we could break them, all right, if we can, this thing's going to go a little crazy, guys. All right, this thing, I'm telling you, okay? You get a weekly close. You don't even got to get a weekly close above all-time highs of 72.98. You just got to get a weekly close above 65.89. That's where you haven't been able to do it. You do that, and you open up the next weekly candle right under all-time highs. That next candle goes a little crazy, okay? That next candle is going to go like this, and we're going to all of a sudden be at like 85, 90 bucks, okay? I'm just saying, I think this thing is heating up, and I hope you guys are making some money. All right, we talk about a lot of stocks that are going to be getting these moves this week specifically. Okay, you had a chance to catch a bang over here on TM. You had a chance to catch Tesla. You had a chance to catch Open over here. Congratulations if you caught Open with us. All right, you want 5 to 10 X's? I got you, but I'm going to tell you they're not exactly common. We did hit them last week on AO as well. But Open here was that. And if you took TM over here, our trade idea on the break over 83.27, you very easily could have caught your 5 to 10x there on TM weeklies there, okay? But, you know, I'm just telling you guys, we got a lot of opportunity here, and all you got to do is really set some alerts and just take action. That's as simple as it is. I give you what is going to be moving every single week here. Every video I update things, but every weekly update here on the weekends, I give you the scan for the next week on what is likely going to be moving and how you can make your money, guys. Less is going to be more. Okay, you just need a few of these, and if you catch them early on, don't feel bad for walking away for the whole week, guys. A lot of people will make money and then give back money in the markets. You don't have to fall into that cycle there. If you have a banging start to the week there, you can always walk away. Okay, if you have 4 banging weeks, that brings a really big payday at the end of the month. There you go. Okay, a lot of people look at it differently. I think option trading should be looked at as a form of income. I think it should be something like that. You can grow your account like it. You could do so, but I'm telling you, if you just look at it how I'm describing here, you're probably going to have a better time, because you're probably going to have these expectations that are within reality here. And you're not going to be shooting for the moon every time trying to grow that account, you know, so explosively each week. You're just looking for, oh, okay, you bring in 2K here, you bring in 2K there. Okay, you're done for the week. You're done. There you go. All right. But either way, I hope you guys are having a good time. There are a bunch of trade ideas that are bringing great moves here that we share for free here on this channel. I just ask that you leave a like. That's all. All right. Moving on over here. QUBT, guys. All right. So we got a QUBT before the breakout over here. And this thing skyrocketed Friday morning. It skyrocketed. But yeah, broke above 16.17 and went straight to 17.24. That is your high of day was 17.26. So you definitely are rejecting there for the time being. Look for this thing to break out over 17.24 this week. And that should take you up to 18.80, which is your 0.618 fib. Above there, you have 2011, which happens to line perfectly with the 0.786 fib. Above there, 2174. But baby steps, we're just looking for 1880 in the short term. All right. But yeah, you do have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 week base. You just started breaking out of that this week. Okay. So I'm looking for a decent snapback over here. All right. The whole team, it is starting to wake up. Okay. Quantum stocks are starting to wake up. You even got our buddy QBTS over here popping back up from the weekly 21. All right. But RGTI and INQ, these are the ones that lit the flame on Friday. Okay. INQ, guys, above 54.74. I think this thing is going to go 60 plus in the short term. I'm not sure if it's going to be like this where it has all these little pullbacks there, but I'm going to guess it is. All right. Regardless, I don't think this is a name where you should be chasing. I think you should just wait for these mean reversions here on the daily time frame. That was your best friend over here. Okay, you waited for your mean reversion. Okay, you at least wait for that 9 EMA test. Okay, because most of these days, if it's going to trade like that, then you're not going to get them. All right, so that's where you want to be, you know, getting in a right in this guy if you're going to trade it. But I'm also pointing out, which I have been pointing out, QUBT down here, consolidating in this base right against the 21 EMA, looking all pretty here in this falling wedge. I pointed out before the falling wedge breakout, and now I'm telling you, all right, the thing is, it's doing some things. Okay, so that's QUBT. All right, now those are my top watches for this week, guys. I do have a few more. I guess I got VST for you guys. All right, VST, this is a no-brainer. This is going to take out all-time highs 216.85, and is very likely going to push 220 to 225 in the short term. That's what I'm thinking over here. But yeah, dips, they should continue being bought over here on VST. It just went through a massive correction. All right. This kind of has been pretty sideways here for, you know, 2.5 months. It looks like it's starting to get some movement again. It looks like it wants to start that next breakout move. And on that breakout move, even if it's going to be a fake out, you should still be able to pull, you know, almost 10 points out of this breakout, even if it's going to be that fake move, which takes you up 225. That's why I say 220, 225 in the short term. All right. That's what I'm thinking over here on this name. So there's that. Those are my top watches for the week, guys. Those are the ones that I'm pretty certain are going to be giving us our moves over there. Grab is more of, you know, I'm waiting to get in on my swing trade over here. I want to ride this guy up, but it just started breaking out. So I definitely think this one to start watching. But look at where that daily RSI is. So that's why I give you guys the, you know, the idea here is to wait for that pullback there and try and scoop it up on that. Okay. But other than that, you know, Rocket Lab probably is going to begin this immediate move this week. Oakland, I told you how I'm trading that. I'm looking for a pullback just because things are a bit extended here on the 4-hour time frame. It doesn't have to. Okay. But that's, you know, I know how this ticker trades, and that's how you have a good time in the ticker. You long the pullbacks. Okay. And you wait for this thing, the momentum to start coming back into that thing after the pullback happens. And that's when you can catch a sick, nasty breakout move. Okay. That's how it trades. Okay. You don't have to chase every single breakout. You can easily wait for the pullback and then bang, mark out this high here. All right. And then if you're a shorter dated option trader, okay, short-term option trader, you can catch little moves like that. That's what I talk about. Okay. You long the pullbacks, or you wait to catch that little breakout after the pullback there and catch that short-term move. At the end of the day, I think we have a massive move loan over here. And I think if you're a swing trader, you're going to have a really good time. I like the 1017 calls over here. But, you know, really, you barely had a move off that. This is lackluster for the amount of consolidation you had, you know, that big ass pullback here. All right. This is all just, you're in the same exact price range. Okay. Now I understand it didn't, you know, just get tight like this. Okay. But you had a massive pullback there, correction. You worked your way up to, you had this little cup and handle action up at the top there, and you barely broke out. You barely had a move. I know it's a decent move, $15, but just look at this, okay? That is a 40-point range. Regardless, and then what happened? You pulled back, you have another decent correction there, okay, that lasted a month and a half, and again, you barely broke out, okay? I'm not saying you didn't move, but you grinded higher for another 10 points just about. This thing has not gotten a decent breakout yet from here or here. And I think now is the time where we're probably about to catch like a nice 20, 30 point move on this name. And it's your chance. Okay. We'll see about it, but I do think 100 plus is incoming on Oakland over the coming weeks. So it's one to put on your radar. Okay. You can trade it like I just described in the short term, or you could take my approach. All right. Which I'm looking at it both, but you know, ultimately I want to catch this next big swing. So that's the whole idea there. Okay. And then VNet, you know, you guys could see what I pointed out in the past here. Okay. You're long in the 1017 calls. You're looking for a 20% move. There you go. You get paid your 100, 200% pretty quick there within a week or two. There's your swing idea. Okay. SOFI in the short term here, I'm thinking it's going to be moving well. Okay. I'm thinking we get this big breakout over here. I think it goes to all-time highs. This is a nice idea for you. You could play shorter dated calls on it. You can also take it as a swing, but I'm just telling you, the actual swing trade, like this thing, you're a shorter term trader if you're trying to catch this. That's all I'm getting at. Like it's not too much meat on the bone until all-time highs. Okay, but this is definitely a move that could bring you a nice 100-something% on weeklies or next Friday's expiration. Okay, and then PLTR, I already talked about it. I'm already in it. But you know, this is a swing back up to the high. That's going to be the target over here. But you know, we did get a nice, you know, 30-40% move right off rip there, just from there. And if you know, anybody could have gotten a better better entry than me as well. Okay, you could have literally bought over here, you could have bought short dated calls, and you could be up a pretty penny. All right, take profit where you see it. I'll point out the opportunities as we go, but that's really it, guys. That's what I have for you today. I have these other guys, but those are really, you know, the top watches there. These are the things that I'm watching for some movement that I might be hopping on when you know, I see them present themselves. But Galaxy, guys, we've had all this consolidation. You kept rejecting 30 bucks over here. You could not get over it. So I marked at the high at 30.84. If that over gets hit, I think we take out 33.17 in the short term. I think we go 35 plus. So, you know, that's something I'm watching the short term, but we got to see, you know, certain criteria get met there, just because we know for a fact this is where supply has been over here. You got slammed down for 2 to 3 weeks, and then you just had a larger correction, reversion to the mean over here. It's picture perfect. It looks so beautiful. All right. But it's not something I'm, you know, certain about, like the ones I already, you know, pointed out at the, you know, earlier. All right. And then you come over JD. All right. This is a big base breakout waiting to happen over here. Other China names been moving. This thing is probably going to break out in the short term, but it hasn't. Okay. It's not something I'm too, you know, certain on. Open over here, guys. We got, you know, so far we've killed it over here in open. All right. 2 weeks in a row. This thing, it's probably going higher. All right. It's probably going higher. That's what I'm thinking here. You know, the overall thesis shifted when they had a $180 billion, COO there come and, you know, become the CEO of a company that was only worth a couple $2 billion. You know, I'm just saying, yeah, they clear as day want to see the stock price rise. They're probably just going to keep searching for these bullish catalysts, and I'm telling you, probably going to continue being the case. They could also do some dilution at some point. I don't think they're going to do it just yet, but if I was, let's just look at it this way. They have the chance to secure that their company is never going to come back down into the abyss ever again, okay? They could pretty much have, you know, I don't know if I'm going to look it up this weekend. I don't know if they can dilute, but I'm guessing that they probably have the ability to do so. And if they do just do a 20% offering with $7 billion market cap, okay, you know, that's pretty crazy for the company there. That changes the fundamental thesis. It really does. And I know they won't like it in the short term over here, the price, but I'll tell you, it's a really good thing if it happens, okay? So, you know, I'm watching that, but I'm you know, we got a decent chunk of change on this big move here, guys. It went 70 to 80% in one day. Congratulations if you caught it with us. But real talk, you know, if you caught this over here, why are you trying to stress it? Okay, you have a lot of tickers I just point out that are very likely going to be getting these clean moves, that you can make those 100-200% gains there if you are, you know, an option swing trader there. You also have short-term opportunities as well. Coin over here, guys, started pushing up to the top of this little base over here. I'm just watching in case, you know, Bitcoin continues this little, you know, move it's happening. MU, I gave this one way earlier, all right, down here, guys, but then you broke above 130, and I was thinking 140 plus, but guys, you went to all-time highs plus. This thing's going to continue, all right, but is it something I'm going to tell anybody along right into all-time highs? No, I told you about it here at like 120, okay? Skyrocketed. You have so much opportunity right now. I'm telling you, the market is hot. You know, well, individual tickers hot. Market consolidation / uncertain. You know, that's how the indices been trading. They've been doing a whole lot of nothing, where we've had a lot of big moves on individual tickers, which I give you at the end of every single video if you just wait till the end. This is probably going to move exactly like it did over here, where every dip every week is going to be bought. Okay. So I'm just telling you, just peek your head up to a new all-time high. I'm not saying you just go straight up from here, but every dip is probably going to continue being bought, and it's going to trade something like this. Okay. So that's going to have opportunity. I guarantee I'm going to be trading over the coming weeks. I just can't tell you if there's like the setup over here. It's kind of past, in my opinion. You're just looking at, you know, short-term trade opportunities just like that. Okay. Cypher, I gave this to you guys when it was consolidating over here. I gave it to coming into the week. Guess what? This thing exploded this week. It's probably going higher. All right. Iron, same thing. All right. It was consolidating over here coming into the week, just like Cypher there, and it started exploding again. Hood, it's a no-brainer dip by opportunity. It's very likely going to, you know, get bought up over here. Can I tell you when though? No. All right. I gave you the certain ones at the beginning of the video. UNH over here, print a nice wide body green bar here, got back above the weekly 21. If you see pullbacks into the weekly 21 over the next 1 to 2 weeks, they're probably going to be bought and provide your long opportunities there. And that would align with you coming back into, you know, 9 EMA over here around 335. Okay. So that's that. That's what I have for you guys this video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do, just please remember to leave a like. That's all I ask for. It helps me, you know, reach more people with the YouTube algorithm. I put a lot of time and effort into these videos every week, 5 days a week. And, you know, I'm definitely going to say the growth is slow here on YouTube. But if you guys could help me out, scratch my back. I love scratch your back. I just ask that sometimes you guys scratch my back with a like. That's all it is. Okay. Other than that, guys, I'm live every day. I trade these tickers that we're talking about. We have been hitting some bangers for, you know, a few weeks here. Yeah, I think we're going to have a really hot week this week. I'm live every single day. I trade these tickers. And if you want to come trade with me, that link is going to be down below. But other than that, guys, I hope everyone here has a lovely rest of their weekend. All right, get that nice refresher into next week. We got some freaking bangers loading next week. I'm telling you, Tesla, Rocket Lab, they're going to be getting clean ass moves. Tesla specifically, guys. All right. Either way, it's going to be a good week. It's going to be a damn good week. Okay. It was a good week this week. It's going to be a damn good week next week. All right, guys. With that being said, I hope everybody has a lovely rest of their weekend, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.